Yeah, okay. Hi, everybody. Welcome to our October 6, 2025 PSC chapter meeting. I'm Ann Friedman, the chapter chair. Staffing the Zoom today is our staff assistant, Jessica Varone. And we have 100 people here. People are still coming in. I've been told we had 220 people, 229 people registered. So we'll see how many come in. Um, the topic for today is Trump's attacks on higher education and the fight back. Academic freedom and funding for research have become important aspects of the PSC agenda as the Trump administration continues its assault on higher education. PSC working groups and fight back groups quickly formed after the national election, and they ensure that, or they try and work to ensure that faculty and staff can do the teaching and research for which they were hired. We know that the Trump administration has used rescission of research funds and threat of legal action to change hiring practices, abandon DEI, that's diversity, equity, and inclusion, to violate academic freedom, and to give up their independence. Our members are well aware of these attacks, so we look to our three speakers to discuss what is being done in defense and what we should do in the future. We will hear today from three people. Monica Trujillo of Queensborough Community College, she's a biologist. Nicole Hochsprung, who's the Assistant Director for Higher Education at the AFT, the American Federation of Teachers, and Rotua Lumbantobing, the Vice President of AAUP, the American Association of University Professors. We'll hear each speaker for about 20 or 25 minutes. And then we'll have a 15-minute Q&A and discussion segment, sorry. Following that, we're going to take nominations for an opening for alternate delegate. And then Michael Foley of the Welfare Fund will talk to us. It's a packed program. Michael told me he can stay longer than 3 o'clock if necessary. So don't get in a panic, you know, that time is up and we're not going to hear from Michael. We will. Is Monica Trujillo here? She's the first speaker.
Monica's not here yet.
Monica's not here yet. Okay. So Nicole Hochsprung of AFT has offered to start us off while we wait for Nicole. So while we wait for Monica, sorry.
Don't worry.
Okay, Nicole, the floor is yours.
All right, thank you so much for having me, PSC. I'm gonna pull up some slides. And while I'm sharing my screen, it is a little tough for me to keep an eye on the chat. But as Anne said, we will have plenty of time for Q&A. This is meant to be kind of a high-level overview of the Trump administration's attacks on higher education. And I wanted to start with Congress, which is unfortunately doing the least. As you might know, the federal government is shut down because Congress has not passed a federal budget for the following fiscal year, and that particularly affects the discretionary spending categories such as research funding, which have to be funded every single year they have to decide how much funding they're going to put towards those accounts. President Trump had proposed very deep cuts to NIH and other research programs. When Congress was negotiating over the budget, those had been largely rejected in committee drafts. Our major research funding agencies like NIH were basically level funded, but Congress has not stood up to the Trump administration in any real way to fight a lot of the kind of rescissions and ideological grant freezes that I'll get into a little bit later. So Congress, before this shutdown, was sort of operating in this like business as usual mentality. AFT and AAUP had a joint lobby day to reach out to Republicans who we thought might be persuadable to launch our campaign and say, you know, this research is critical. To cover the waterfront quickly on what has been happening since Trump took office in the world of research grants, starting with biomedical research, the National Institutes of Health, and the National Science Foundation. We started the Trump administration with this unprecedented freeze on spending, with the DOGE folks coming in and kind of searching by keyword to pull grant funding, grant by grant, and which led to a lot of chaos and some whole program eliminations, such as the F-31 program, which supported underrepresented students to get PhDs in science. The best way to find out detailed information about kind of what's going on here are these two websites I found, scienceimpacts.org and grantwitness.us. Both places will help you look at where grants have been cut and possibly reinstated. So there's a lot of litigation in this area, including some led by AFT and AAUP, to restore these cuts because the Trump administration did not really have grounds to cancel them after funds had already been committed. So the good news is that people who are fighting are largely winning. So where people have fought back and got into their day in court, many of them have had their grants restored. We also have seen some policy changes that concern us, with a slower rollout of new grant awards. So this chaos caused a backup of the peer review panels that award the awards, but that did get moving again earlier this year. However, NIH did change their policy requiring that multi-year awards be funded ahead of time, making them even more competitive to get. Other grant-making agencies have had a lot of chaos as well, but some of them have a lot of activity on university campuses and some not so much. So USAID, which saw a lot of attacks, has a lot of agriculture research that goes to universities. A lot of that has been cut. The National Endowments for the Arts and Humanities, there were a lot of rescissions and cuts there based on this kind of ideological DEI executive order that Trump issued his first day in office, and a reorientation of these endowments towards what the Trump administration is calling, you know, patriotic values. The Institute for Museum and Library Services has also seen unprecedented cuts. The Environmental Protection Agency, NOAA, which is the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, the weather affects us all, and NASA. So all of these areas have seen chaos, have seen cuts or rescissions of grants that were already out there, and have seen some concerning policy changes or changes to their capacity to keep awarding grants in the future. And then the Department of Education itself. So the Department of Education, gutted its civil service, removing almost half of its employees. And the Department of Education has also targeted grant programs, particularly those that help under-resourced universities and their students. This includes programs like the Teacher Quality Partnerships. I believe this impacted CUNY. Gear Up and other TRIO programs. TRIO is a suite of, I think it's 8 programs that help high school students transition to college, help college students get acclimated on campus, and even help students pursue graduate work. And the same sort of anti-DEI stance has seen some of that money get pulled back in the last few weeks. Very disturbing to us is the Trump administration is openly pitting Hispanic serving institutions, which is a particular federal category that gets funding through the Higher Education Act, an act that Congress passed. CUNY is a Hispanic serving system. All CUNY institutions are considered Hispanic serving. But the Trump administration has said that though that program is illegal, that under their anti-DEI initiatives, that things should be based on merit and not on race, and they have taken a great deal of that Hispanic serving institution money and they have reapportioned some of it to historically Black colleges and universities, pitting two groups of under-resourced institutions against each other. And the Department of Education, as you probably know, has opened countless investigations into many colleges and universities, including some CUNY campuses that threaten the freedom of speech of faculty, of students, freedom to research. And these are based on sometimes, Title VII and accusations of anti-Semitism, sometimes Title IX and the school's treatment of student athletes or women, and sometimes other things. There's been some widely reported settlements with Columbia and Brown universities. The Trump administration is now demanding new information about how colleges admit their students. The Trump administration has also changed some fundamental things about the system of accreditation. And as we could spend the whole meeting talking about this, but a new letter from the Department of Education to 9 elite colleges, inviting them into a compact for special treatment for research funding if they acquiesce to a laundry list of demands from the Trump administration, including freezing their tuition, capping international student enrollment, and much, much more. We are fighting back against these attacks in every possible way in the courts with locals like you in Washington, D.C., outside of Washington, D.C. And this is under the umbrella of our campaign that is joint between AFT and the AAUP, Higher Education, Saving Lives, Building Futures, and Powering the Economy. The website for this is aft.org/higher ed benefits everyone. If you want to see more graphics like these, if you want to see some of the videos we've put together to convey our message to the public. We really have a lot of strong support out there, especially for biomedical research and especially for community colleges. We've done some polling on this, which is not to say that you should, overfit your campaigns to polling data, but the public is on our side. The public wants this research to continue to exist and wants students to have access to higher education. And my kind of advice for you on fighting back is that the specific grant losses and the specific funding losses, to tell those stories and to get the people impacted by them, both the workers and the students and the community, out in front and saying this is not a number on a spreadsheet, this is not a DEI conspiracy, this is what this grant really meant to me, really meant to my community. Even if you never go to CUNY, you still benefit from all of the wonderful things that CUNY does in New York City. So the overall kind of themes of these attacks we're seeing, or at least as the Trump administration would like to frame them, is merit versus DEI. They would like to say that it's a completely fair world out there. Everyone has an equal chance, and that they are just analyzing the grant funding world based on merit. And there is a real anti-expertise that underlies a lot of their work as well. They fundamentally don't see these grants as valuable or this research as valuable. And it's up to us to kind of put together the pieces for the public on how this research leads to meaningful differences in people's lives. So again, my name is Nicole Hochsprung, and this is my email address if you'd like to get in touch with me later. I'm happy to take questions after we've heard for some other speakers, or if other questions occur to you later, please reach out.
Okay, thank you, Nicole. We'll go to Monica if she's here.
She's not here, Anne.
She's not here, but I did see Rotua. Rotua, let me see if I can get your name right. Lumbantobing,
Yes.
is
Hi,
that right?
Anne. Yes. Rotua
Hi.
Lumbantobing. Hi, everyone.
Hi. Okay, we're a little ahead of schedule with the speakers because Monica's not here yet. So are you ready to go at this point?
Sure.
Okay.
I do see Joan with her hand up.
You see, we're going to
If
take questions after the speakers finish. Joan, can you wait, or is this not a question? Can't hear you. You have to unmute.
There was no way to unmute. I want to refer people to the Turning the Page article, and I'm wondering if someone could post it, that I wrote in the last issue about the specifics of CUNY and the people who lost their grants. And I could speak about that for a couple of minutes, but it would be important to post the article, I think.
I don't know if I can do that technically, but I can post the link to the issue.
Okay.
Okay. Can you
And
wait on that, Joan?
Anne, do you want me to speak about those people, or you have?
Yes, I want you to speak about those people, maybe when Rotua finishes.
Of course.
Monica is one of those people. Monica Trujillo,
Yes.
biologist, is one of those people, and that's why we have her on the program. So
Exactly.
let's go to our other speaker who's here now, and we'll come back to you. Okay?
If she's here, that's fine. Yes.
Well, even if she's here, you
Okay.
probably have something to add.
Yes.
Okay, Rotua.
Okay, thank you. Hi, everyone. Again, thank you for this opportunity to have this important discussion. I hope that I will take less time than allotted so we can have this. I would like to hear from all of you. What I want to do is to summarize what the attacks on higher ed, the landscape of higher ed, if you will, and then touch on, we'll discuss on what we have what AAUP has done and what is ahead. Sorry again, my name is Rotua Lumbantobing. So I'm the Vice President of at AAUP, American Association of University Professors National. I am a member, an active member at Connecticut State University AAUP chapter, and I teach economics at Western Connecticut State University. Before I joined the leadership team June last year, I was chapter president for 4 years at Western Connecticut State University, and that's when I was really, activated myself, so to speak. Okay, well, first we have seen attacks on higher ed institutions. I would like to divide them into the ones that have been going on for decades, for the last, especially the last 5 decades. These are mostly neoliberalization and corporatization of higher ed. These include budget cuts by state governments at especially at public colleges and universities, and also there's a lack of funding. Increasing lack of funding at other colleges and universities. There's a very serious attempt at politicization of the curriculum, especially recently with Christopher Rufo, DeSantis, Trump, and so on. Erosion of tenure, I'm sure you all know this, and job security. As of 2021, tenure line faculty, so tenured and tenure track faculty, now just about a quarter of all faculty in higher ed. The majority, now about 75% of all faculty in higher ed are contingent faculty who don't have job security, living paycheck to paycheck, or even less. I know some of my colleagues who are contingent faculty at my institution, they have to drive up and down the highway, the interstate highway, the I-84 across Connecticut and Western New York to teach at, teach at 3, 4, 5 institutions to cobble together contract teaching assignments to make what is a barely full-time job, barely living wage. And also I will like to highlight that we have activists, board of regents, board of trustees. Most of them know nothing about higher ed and students' needs. They ignore us who have the expertise in higher ed, who know what our students need. So these are the ones that have been going on for decades. Under the current Trump administration, and these Nicole has mentioned in her talk earlier, federal cuts on research funding, this is the kind of research that covers biomedical, climate science, public health, and so on. So research that benefits everyone across the country, regardless of where they live. Blue states, red states, purple states, you name it. As Nicole mentioned, funding cuts on TRIO programs, Pell Grants, elimination of Grad Plus loans, and much lower limits on the new grad students loans, the elimination of DEI programs, campus ban on free speech, and as Nicole also mentioned, the new compact, which amounts to a loyalty oath. This is another extortion by the Trump administration on the 9 institutions that just came out last week. So all these attacks obviously have hurt us, our institutions, and our students, and our communities, and those are the stakeholders. And I just want to repeat that, to reiterate that the stakeholders are us, right? Faculty, academic staff. We support students. We in every capacity that is necessary. Graduate students, obviously our undergraduate students too, members of communities, these are all the stakeholders. So June last year, Todd Wolfson, Danielle Aubert, and I, as new leaders of AAUP, we outlined our vision during our campaign. Some of these I'm sure you are familiar with. College for All. This is free, debt-free college, or debt-free college education for all, freedom to learn, freedom to teach, which I see this is very important. It's the control of the curriculum. We call it also academic freedom. Freedom to do research, this is also academic freedom. Full funding on research for public health, for cutting edge research, and for research to support social justice and social equity. And last but definitely not least, fair wage and job security. So I think I would like to then dig deeper. So this second Trump administration has greatly accelerated the attacks that I mentioned. Why is that? So I see it as Trump represents a coalition of multi-billionaires. These are the elite, the ruling class, the capitalists. I'd like to mention that I'm teaching environmental economics this semester, and it's been really depressing. It's really hard but also very, I would say, very important. I have had important discussions with my students about capitalism itself. And this is where I would like to focus on. So as I said, so Trump himself represents a coalition of multi-billionaires, white supremacists, fascist, and right-wing religious. And by the way, they are not necessarily in total agreement with each other. And we can see actually some of these clashes happening right now. I'm sure you've heard of Project 2025. That is their blueprint, which aims to centralize and control the political power under the executive branch of the federal government. This is anti-democratic. It eliminates dissent. It eliminates checks and balances, including journalism and especially higher ed institutions, which, as we know, have long been a bastion of activism and radical thinking. And this is really why the federal government has been attacking the biggest and elite institutions, because through research funding cuts, ban on DI programs, extortions, demands to turn over data on faculty and students who especially have spoken out for Palestine. This is important. I think that this federal government has been attacking the biggest institutions, the elite institutions, the Ivies. This is because when they bend over, when they give in, it's game over. I understand that a regional university like my institution will not fight. They can't. They just don't have the capacity to fight, unfortunately. But I want to also emphasize this is why we must fight. We, workers and members of communities, with our students, because there is no other way. There is no other option. Because there is no place for us, for you and me, in fascism. We are slow walking into fascism right now. We cannot give in, because if we give in, they will just demand more and more, as we have seen from the administration at the Columbia University. We cannot give in because our students, our communities, and really democracy depend on this fight. And we cannot hide because they'll find us. So really the only option is to fight. So I want then to talk about how we fight. How do we fight? I think you all know here that we fight by building power. What kind of power? Our strength, workers, our strength is in numbers. That's the only power we have, but it's an immense power. So we have building power, building labor power, building political power, power by the people to govern. We need to be a political force. Now, how do we do that? We fight by organizing. We fight strategically. We need to ask more people to join the fight. I'm so happy to see all of you here in this virtual room, 150 of us here, because we care, right? Since the second Trump administration started in January, we have added, so AAUP has added almost 6,000 members. So now we have about 50,000 members and 33 new or reactivated chapters. We are training hundreds of these new members and also other members through the Skills to Win organizing training and other organizing training. We have done two virtually last year and earlier this year. We did one together with AFT at our Summer Institute and at Morehouse College in Atlanta earlier this summer, so in July. And we build coalitions. We have been affiliated with, AAUP has been affiliated with AFT since 2022. And AFT has the biggest higher ed workers across the country. Well, we also have a coalition called Labor for Higher Ed with AFT, SEIU, and other IUs, and HELU and the DAD Collective. And we also have what is called Coalition for Action in Higher Ed. They're the ones who have organized the April 17 Day of Action for the last 2 years. So we need to have these coalitions, and it is important that we have coalition wall to wall on campuses and coast to coast across the country in higher ed, in the higher ed sector. But ultimately, we also need other workers to fight together, to stand up together. We in AAUP, we just completed a campaign across many states to ask Congress to restore funding cuts. Unfortunately, now that the federal shutdown, the federal government shutdown, there is really no movement. But we have to continue this fight. So we're now working with chapters and state conferences to support their local fights and connect them in this national fight. So I also want to mention that, so this is our strategy, as I said, is to build power, political force, and governing power, and to create a crisis that they must respond to. And we see this as partly defense, because we need to defend academic freedom, we need to defend our jobs, we need to defend our research, and we need to definitely defend our students and their rights and the freedom to speak and the freedom to learn. And we also need to defend our community members, especially the ones who are less privileged. And we see this as focusing also on defending our members and our institutions in the purple and red states. We need to defend what we have right now. On the offense side, our strategy is to get victories, get wins at the state level, especially in blue states. And we would like to have more states pass the Fair Share Amendment that Massachusetts passed a few years ago. That is a great model because it protects, it creates, well, it creates funding for all students for across colleges and institutions, especially in public universities. We need to work with other locals. We need to work with independent political organizations and Working Families Party, especially. We need to build a political program because we need to educate. We need to have the political awareness of what's going on, the shared analysis, and where the decision makers are and how they shape the state's education agenda. We need to definitely, ultimately, and this is part of our campaign, AAUP campaign, to run progressive candidates who are accountable to us, to communities, and not accountable to the rich. And we want to see where we can win collective bargaining rights for private institutions and also private and down the road for public institutions in states that don't have it. Excuse me, don't have it yet. So it's so in short, we need to not only we need to defend what we have right now, we need to defend academic freedom. We need to defend our students and institutions where that are directly under attack. But we also need to get ahead of it, to get ahead of this administration, and to win those things that we have lost long time ago, decades ago, because this is not about really, I would like to say this is not really about Trump per se. This is about the elite, the ruling class that have been the capitalists, the capital owners that have been using the economic system, the resources, labor, our labor, to their benefit. Enough about that. Enough with that. We need to have the political force in our communities, in this society, to be able to win what we want, what we need to have for our students, what our students need to succeed in their lives and for future generations. We understand that the fight is hard. It's really hard. But if we stand together, we can win. We believe we can win this if we stand together. And what we have seen so far is really really giving us hope. I've seen across towns in Connecticut where I live, on every weekend, demonstrations, there are protests, there are rallies everywhere. People are showing up, and that's great. Lastly, I want to mention that part of our fight and campaign is losses. Losses are not going to win us that without our fight, without standing together. But they are important to slow down this administration and also to expose them. AAUP right now is involved in 8 lawsuits. The latest one that we filed last week is a lawsuit with other institutions and individuals against the prohibitive policy under H-1B work visas. But I'm sure you have heard that we won our lawsuit, AAUP, and our several of our chapters, and Mesa versus Rubio. I think it was last week. Time just flies now. Things happen very quickly. So these losses are important. They are important, but they are an important part of our strategy, of our fight. But they're not, losses alone are not going to save us. We need to save ourselves together. And I
Thank
want
you.
to stop there. Thank you.
Thank you, Rotua. Okay, is Monica Trujillo in the room?
No, she's not here, Anne.
Okay, thank you. So Joan, miraculously Joan, you want to take a few minutes and talk about your article?
Well, I'll spend
Or what?
First of all, it's wonderful to hear the last speaker, because sometimes CUNY gets buried and we hear about Columbia and Harvard and so-called elite institutions. And, we kind of believe we're pretty amazingly great. I just want to give a couple of specifics here and thank the last speaker very much. And we'll come back to you. Let me start with the humanities. We all, and I think many of us, have written grants here as retirees or been part of grants. And we all remember that grants aren't just given, and they're not given to the institution. Grants are hard work, and we work for them by reading all the possible grants that will be given in the next year or 2 years, within disciplines and within areas, and then writing proposals that match that with our students and faculty and curriculum in mind. And they're very hard to write grant proposals. I think you remember that. And they don't just involve faculty, they involve HEOs and they involve CLTs. So all of us at CUNY are involved in that. The next point is that when we win a grant, that grant is to the people listed on it and to the institution. So I'll give you an example here from LaGuardia. A humanities grant was ripped out, as Molly Rosner said, like a blanket, ripped away. And it was a grant, very small actually, for 3 years of training faculty and students in doing oral histories. Now, great harm in oral histories? No, of course not. No reason given, just ripped out. And for most of those who are now in the science and research group at CUNY, which is doing precisely what our last speaker spoke about in joining together with other organizations to fight these. There are no reasons given. Many people assumed that they were ripped away because it was CUNY as a Hispanic institution. All of our grants at CUNY had the rider on them that we wrote that says CUNY is an institution that supports diversity, equity, and inclusion. Maybe that's the reason they just tore them all away. Nick Freudenberg, who is a retired professor, I don't know if Nick is here. If he is, it'd be good to hear from him, says that the majority of jobs in New York City are in healthcare, and it's the biggest growing field in New York City. And the majority of grants that were taken away were for training students in healthcare professions. Does it make sense? Of course not. We are a DEI institution. Mike Green, also a retired professor, and it'd be interesting if Mike is here, at City College in the sciences, says that without question, and he has studied this, the life expectancy of our children and our grandchildren will decrease. That's a chilling statement. I just wanted to offer those specific things, that these are grants we write for. We're very careful in writing for them. We support the fact that CUNY is for diversity, equity, and inclusion. We are very glad that it's a Spanish-speaking institution. And we are struggling through a combined task force now on getting grants back. I'll add just one thing. Initially, there was a difference between campuses in the way that some campuses responded. So for example, at LaGuardia, there was only 1 year left in a grant, and the president said, oh, we'll put money in it. This was true at a couple of other campuses also, but it wasn't uniform. And one of the things that the CUNY-wide group on research is now going for is getting the administration of CUNY to unify this, fight for these grants, and work with other organizations. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Joan. Okay, it looks like we're ready for some Q&A, a little discussion. If you have a question for any of the speakers, just raise your Zoom hand. Cecilia. Cecilia, then Peter Ramos, and Erwin.
Yeah, I want to thank the two speakers from AAUP and AFT. I feel very proud now to be a member of both of those organizations. But AAUP mentioned the increase in membership. I wanted to ask AFT, the AFT rep, if AFT has seen any differences in the membership as a result of what's happened over the past several months.
Yes, we have seen an increase in activism among existing locals, more folks engaged and signing cards. And we have also seen new organizing activity, including in Maryland. It comes to mind immediately. Some of these campaigns were in the works before the 2024 election, but I think that this has been a wake-up call for a lot of people working in higher ed, that, you know, the norms that we may have come to rely on are not a given, and we are stronger together. We've also experienced, we've also had some new affiliations with our union, so an independent faculty union, ABSCA, in Pennsylvania, that represents the regional state institutions in Pennsylvania, has now affiliated with AFT again on this same kind of principle of we are stronger when we stand together.
Thank you, Nicole.
As Rotua says in the comments, AAUP members are also AFT members. I know some of this can get a little confusing, but we are one organization.
Okay. Peter Reynes.
Yes, Rotua, thank you very much for your presentation. It was very uplifting that you are considering what you call resistance that needs to be responded to, and I agree with that 100%. I know this isn't easy, and the complexities are immense for you, but I would think the AAUP plus the AFT plus the SEIU plus the UAW, plus graduate student unions, and the communities that you're situated in would welcome a faculty strike across the nation that would bring universities to a halt, would bring tremendous pressure from parents and the community to having students locked out of the university. I know there will be counter pressures in some states where public sector professors could not strike. But are you guys considering the possibility of more powerful actions? Otherwise, we have to wait till 2026 to have any possible reform at the national level. Thank you.
That was a question for Rotua. I don't know.
Yes,
Yes.
and I can take that. Peter, great question. In Connecticut where I live, the public sector workers cannot go on strike. Now that doesn't mean that we can't be strike ready. And I completely agree with you that strike need to be on the table. That striking needs to be one of the things on the table that that we should consider, definitely. What it looks like, I don't know, I'll be honest with you, but that is as we all know, striking is our ultimate weapon as as workers, our ultimate strategy. But it's there are multiple steps before that, and that we can escalate, and we need to do all of that. But we're not gonna take it off the table because that needs to be part of our strategy, of our ultimate strategy. We definitely to have a successful strike, definitely we need to have close to 100% participation. We need to have our students with us. We need to have our communities with us. And I'm sure you all know this. And that is no easy feat. But we need to work towards, at the very least, strike ready. Yes.
Thank you. Erwin Yelowitz.
Yes, thank you, Anne. The efforts to organize on a wider basis, of course, are profound and also very difficult. The kind of organizing that we're talking about could take a very long time. But it seems to me that a more immediate goal would be to bring organized labor into support of academic objectives. We have the AFL-CIO, AFT, of course, is part of it. And so this question may be more to Nicole. What are we doing to get the AFL-CIO to become an active participant in defending higher education? Because they of course are the unions that are already organized in the country, not those that have to be organized, but that already exist, and they should be in the forefront of the defense of higher education. So what is AFT doing specifically to get that kind of support?
I might have to get back to you with more details on this, but this is a little above my pay grade. But I can say that the AFL-CIO is well aware of higher education as an important front in Trump's attacks on the fundamental values of this country. The AFL-CIO is also juggling a lot of other priorities, but you know, Randy continues to make the case, and you know, other leaders continue to make the case that higher education is a critical front in this attack on knowledge, this attack on democratic norms, you know, higher education's historical role in calling out abuses of power. This is something we continue to bring up all the time, everywhere, including at the AFL-CIO.
Okay. Bruce Brown?
Yeah, this is a question for Rotua. I was interested in, thank you for your talk. I was interested especially in to hear what you had to say about the role of the courts, for which you were not that enthusiastic. And of course, we need to do other things than just lawsuits. But lawsuits, I think one can argue, have been thought of as being perhaps the last resort, given the nature of the executive branch and the legislative branch these days. So I'm curious as to why you characterize the lawsuits as less enthusiastic than one might. Is it because of the nature of the Supreme Court at present, or are there other reasons that you think lawsuits may not be as effective as we might think they would be? Thanks.
Thank you for that question, Bruce. Yes, partly because of the makeup of our Supreme Court right now. But more importantly, it's because I think historically that the courts, federal courts I'm talking about here, rely on the federal government to enforce their decisions. This federal government is the one that is doing the bad deed, right? How are they going to enforce? I mean, they're not interested in enforcing any of these court decisions, unfortunately. I mean, yes, these courts are doing their best, really, to demand this federal government to enforce their decisions. But it's really hard. Like I just read this morning in the New York Times that the Trump administration is sending the National Guard troops to Portland, and that is from California. And Governor Gavin Newsom, of course, doesn't like that, and the court already said no, don't do that. They already blocked that, and this federal government is still doing it. So that makes it really, really hard to you know, if we get a win like this AAUP v. Rubio decision, for example, that came out last week. So the judge, the presiding judge, will I think in the near future will come up with the decision how to actually enforce this decision. So that came out last week, but maybe I'm pessimistic. I should hope I'm wrong. But it's just hard. Plus but really, having said all that, also really, even if this federal government tries to enforce the court decisions, still it's not that you know, it's not like all these problems will go away. This, as I said earlier, that neoliberalism, neoliberal policies have gotten us to this before the first and second Trump administrations. And this is now we're slow walking into fascism. So this is not an isolation. He is the combination of what has happened in the last 6 decades. Unfortunately for us, and so I think we need to fight. I mean, the fight, we always have to fight. It's just this federal government has really accelerated their attacks against especially higher ed. So we need to meet this moment. Trump is moving very quickly, so we need to move. Definitely there is a serious sense of urgency, but the need to fight, the need to organize, and then to mobilize is always there.
Yeah, so thank you. The failure to enforce that you're referring to is the constitutional crisis, I think, that we all feared, and it's happening now. So yeah, it's not just possible, but it is happening. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Bruce. Thank you, Rotua. Are there any more questions? We do have time.
Could I follow up for a second on what Rotua said? If you haven't, spent a lot of time reading court cases, something that was specifically stood out about the Rubio AAUP case about the free speech rights of non-citizens was that the whole opinion from the judge is fashioned as this response to an anonymous postcard that he received that says, Trump has pardons and tanks, what do you have? And it's kind of this like optimistic case of, if we all work together, we can all defend our constitutional rights. But it is, scary that some of Trump's coalition is openly targeting the judicial branch and openly targeting judges. So it's both optimistic and underscores the real stakes here.
Thank you, Nicole. I see Paige Delano.
Hello, everyone. This is an important discussion. I'm not very good at organizing. Sometimes I come up with ideas that may be absurd, but and I know there are things going on in Brooklyn College to support the fired adjuncts. I saw there was a teach-in, I just Googled it, there was a teach-in at Lehman in April. I don't know if that's a good thing to do, to really promote teach-ins at different schools around different issues. And really to pick strategic things that the CUNY faculty and us old folks, might be able to participate in. So it seems to me the idea is striking. I'm not sure it is the most important task vehicle we have. There might be other most importance that we need to be thinking of. And I know there have been just a plethora of demonstrations everywhere. I think we're exhausted from them. So I don't know if it's possible to even organize particular focuses. But and I think optimism is important. I think just speaking with more energy and is also important. The Ta-Nehisi Coates interview exchange with Ezra Klein was really, I thought he was optimistic. I think it's important to look at those kind of things and see where we can find those grains of optimism without being Pollyanna-ish. So my thoughts.
Thank you, Paige. Nancy Romer.
Hi, yeah, I think we have to create strategies. being concerned is great, and reading about it, that is great, but I think you have to have your and defense.
Hey,
Uh,
you're breaking up, Nancy. Are you moving or something? Are you?
uh, I'm on Wi-Fi, so I apologize. I'm
Oh,
at Hunter College awaiting our next town hall on what's at stake in the mayoral election and a focus on climate action. So I apologize if I'm breaking up. I would say a couple of things. One is please come out for the October 18th No Kings March. The union, you can go to the union website and join us, find out exactly where we're meeting up and join us. It's important that we have a big group, and it's also important for us individually to be part of a group and to feel the support of others around us. So that will be massive. The last time there was a No Kings March, there were 6 million people out on the streets in the United States. Hopefully that will double, and also to join the committees that are part of the union structure. The Committee in Defense of Research, the Gender and Sexuality Committee, the Deportation Committee, the Defend Free Speech Committee. There are a lot of ways that we can plug in and figure out ways to advance the work that we're doing. It's important for us individually so that we keep the faith and keep our heads together and we don't go crazy. And it's also going to make us much more effective than just worrying. And just want to remind everybody, if you're not registered to vote in New York City, register to vote. You have until October 25th to do so, and then to get out and vote. Thank you.
thank you, Nancy. I hope the town hall goes well today. I'm sure it will. Okay.
Yeah, we have, by the way,
What? Again? Okay. Anybody else? Okay. Well, we're a little early, but that's okay. I'll ask one more time if Monica's here.
No, I don't think so, unless she's here under another name.
No, I don't think that would be. Okay, well, we can move on to I have to thank the speakers before we move on to the next part of the agenda. Thank you very much, Rotua, and thank you, Nicole, for taking time out of your busy schedules to come and talk with us. We really appreciate it. You can stay on or not, whatever you would like. We're going to have a nomination for an alternate delegate. Very sadly, we lost one of our alternate delegates. Why am I blocking on the name? Somebody help me.
Blanca Vasquez.
Blanca Vasquez, yes. She passed away in July, I think, or August, and she was one of our alternates. And so the instructions for filling that seat are for us to have nominations at a meeting. We announced this last month and we announced it a number of times in our blasts. So whether or not we have an election today will depend on how many nominees there are. So I'm asking for a nomination to fill a seat of alternate delegate. I see Bonnie Nelson.
Yes, I would, I would like to nominate Francine Francine Eggersider. Francine retired from LaGuardia Community College, where she was on the library faculty and was a very active union member, serving for many years on the LaGuardia PSC Executive Committee in various roles. And I think she would be a great alternate delegate.
Thank you. Do I see a second? Lorraine?
Yes, I second the nomination as a fellow LaGuardian and as chair of the LaGuardia chapter. Francine was indispensable, committed, and totally responsible for every task she took on.
Thank you, Lorraine. Is Francine here? Do you accept the nomination, Francine?
Yes, I do.
Okay, thank you. Any other nominees? Well, I don't see any other hands. Since we have only one nominee, we can vote by acclamation at this meeting and fill that seat. So can I ask who is in favor of electing Francine Edgar Sider to the alternate delegate seat? Okay. Okay, looks like we have a new alternate delegate.
44.
Somebody's shooting up loads of hands and things. That looks just great.
And you might just for, I think, completion, ask for negatives, and I don't think, but if everyone's hand is up, it doesn't really matter.
Okay, I can't really see every single hand because we have almost 140 people. Any no votes? I don't know if these are no votes or if they're leftover yes votes.
Maybe we can, I think Jessica can lower all the hands before you call for no vote.
Okay,
I was,
Jessica.
I was trying, but I couldn't find how to do it.
Okay.
Right, can people lower their hands then?
I think the hands are lowered, at least on the screen that I'm looking at.
Yeah, I don't see any.
Okay.
Okay, they're all
Okay.
down now.
Any no votes? Abstentions?
Okay.
Francine, it looks like you're our new alternate delegate on the executive committee of the retiree chapter. Thank you very much for your willingness to serve. That's great. Okay.
My pleasure.
Congratulations. Is Michael Foley here yet?
Of course I am.
Of course you are. I saw your face at the very beginning of the meeting.
I've
even
been here.
though-
I've been here all along. Really
Yes,
exciting conversation today. Really
I
exciting.
know, even though I asked you to be here at 2:30, you're very, very early. So, Michael, you have the floor.
Thank you. Thank you. Again, thank you for welcoming me to the retiree chapter session. I always enjoy these sessions. Peter Rannis, I owe you a copy of your catastrophic policy. I will put it in the mail tomorrow. Apologies for the delay. I just want to go over a few things real quickly, then open up to any questions anyone's having. Oh, by the way, you may have heard that the city of New York is moving active employees into a new healthcare plan.
Yes.
You all were the pioneers in fighting back against this 2 years ago. You know, I mean, this looks like it's going to succeed on the city side. So remain aware because I think they're going to try and do it again, you know, and possibly even try and target you all again as retirees. So remain aware. The retiree chapter sort of led the fight last time and were successful. So, you know, just always be aware because, you know, this kind of effort is not going to go away no matter who the mayor is. So, you know, remain diligent and vigilant, I should say. Let me just go over a few details. I mentioned on some of the previous sessions that the Brooklyn College Audiology Clinic is now a approved vendor one of our approved benefit providers. So this has been years in the making. This is big news for the Brooklyn Clinic. I would urge anyone who needs a hearing exam or hearing aids to do it in Brooklyn. Keep it in-house. You know, the audiology clinic, Michael Bergen is the director of the clinic. It's a fantastic place. He's thrilled to bring his services to the entire CUNY community. And like I said, even if it's just a hearing exam, set one up and get on the 5 train and go to Flatbush and have that hearing done right there at Brooklyn College. And we're proud to welcome Brooklyn College and the audiology clinic. The fund's benefit bulletin is going to be going out very shortly in the mail and via email. You'll see more news about it in the benefit bulletin, as well as the process to follow, the process to set up an appointment. So happy about that. Open enrollment is starting very soon. Some of the HR offices is saying it starts on October 15th. I thought it was just the month of November. I'm trying to clarify if anyone on the call knows specifically. But in any case, open enrollment is here as early as October 15th. So if you need to make any changes, look at what you have, look at the dental plan you have, look at your healthcare plan as well, your medical provider. We don't control that, but it's open enrollment for that as well. So assess what you have. If you need to do any comparisons side by side, give us a call specifically around like the dental program. We can help you walk through that. Open enrollment coming up shortly. Vaccines. I've talked about this a lot. If you are a age 65 and over retiree, keep that Medicare card and your SilverScript card in your purse or wallet when you go to the pharmacy or when you go to a physician. For any of the vaccines, including COVID, it's your Medicare card and your SilverScript card. If you're an under age 65 retiree, it's your GHI health medical benefit card. So it may seem counterproductive to not be using your prescription drug card, your CVS card. Just keep in mind that if you're 65 and over, it's your Medicare and your SilverScript card. Speaking of COVID-19 and the Paxlovid vaccine, I do not know right now what's going to happen with that copay assistance program that's been in place for the past almost 2 years now. That's an arrangement between the federal government and the drug manufacturer Pfizer. You have to sign up and get what's called a Paxess card to get your prescription filled to get your Paxlovid prescription filled at no cost. If anyone has experienced the Paxess program, it's worked pretty well for most folks. It's confusing only because not everyone knows about it. So if you do get diagnosed with COVID, give me a call. Paxlovid is effective within the first 5 days of the infection. Many folks, both active and retired, have shown up at the pharmacy to be told that it's going to cost you $1,400 out of pocket and things like that. That's because they're not aware of the copay assistance program. So just give us a call. I can walk you through the process, but just keep that in mind that there's a program out there that will allow you to get Paxlovid at little to no cost. That's really kind of the announcements I had. Happy to take any questions or any concerns. Susan, you've got your hand raised.
Hi, Michael. Yeah, I wanted to first of all really just put a plug in for Brooklyn College. I'm an adjunct with the CUNY Consortium AUD program. I'm based at Hunter, but I know these people. First of all, you're going to get quality care. You'll get an hour and a half for an evaluation, which you will not get in any other private practice. Granted, we have doctoral students, but they're supervised by a experienced, trained audiologists, all of whom I know. And I would highly recommend that if you're going to get an eval and you can get to Brooklyn, I would go there because you will not have any regrets or any questions at all.
Thank
Susan,
you.
you said it far better than I did. Thank you. You are exactly right. This is a great development. We're proud to partner with Brooklyn College and take advantage of it.
Thank you.
Any
Okay,
other questions? Any other concerns? No,
my goodness.
no, come
Oh,
on,
my goodness.
Linda.
Sorry, a little trouble unmuting. Last month you were mentioning, I did see it in the email, and I admit I haven't followed through on it. But for those of us that have the catastrophic policy via NICET, you were saying something about our Medicare out of pocket and whatever Medicare pays, that it could go to catastrophic. And I'm not sure what you were saying on
I
that.
think what you're talking about is meeting that deductible. So anyone with the catastrophic policy. Oh, and by the way, Diane has been nice enough to invite me to write a piece about the catastrophic insurance policy. That's going to be in the next newsletter coming out. So
Right.
a lot of these questions I'm going to answer in that article. But in any case, I think what you're just talking about is the deductible. When the very first thing you see on the catastrophic policy is that $10,000 deductible. It can scare some folks, but there's no need to be afraid of it. Basically, any medical cost that you incur goes towards meeting that deductible. Most folks that have been around long enough have probably already met the deductible. And if not, you're pretty close to it. So if that's what you're referring to, I think that might answer your question.
Okay, but does that count what Medicare pays as well as what we pay out of pocket, or is it only out of pocket, that 10,000?
It's the lower number. So it's whatever is paid out by Medicare, and as well as any out-of-pocket costs. So yeah, any out-of-pocket costs and whatever is not billed but paid for the care.
Okay, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Eileen Pretzel?
Yes. Hi.
Hi.
Hi. I actually sent you a direct message, but I guess you haven't seen it yet. At the last meeting, you had mentioned something about the $2,000 cap for the prescriptions. You said something about ours being actually a little bit less because of some other subsidy.
Yeah.
Can
Yeah.
you
So,
please elaborate? Mine
of
is
course.
almost up to the 2,000, and it's like it on my account it shows that I have the rest left to meet the 2,000. So
Okay. Yeah. What I would suggest doing is calling our prescription drug expert at the fund, Jennifer Melfi. I'll respond to your email and give you her direct contact. So in essence, what the welfare fund has done is they've paid a little bit of that deductible. So you should be once you reach about $1,600 or a little less than $1,600, you should meet. But
I'm over 1,800. So
you're over that? All right. If
Yeah.
you talk to Jennifer, she'll be able to clarify exactly where you stand. There may be some details that I'm missing, but you should be there by now. And if not, that 2,000, once you reach that $2,000 deductible, you should be fine.
And I saw that next year it goes to 2,100.
I believe so.
How nice.
Yeah. But like I said, we assume some of that cost. So talk to Jennifer, and she'll talk to you specifically about your situation. Sometimes these things change depending on each individual experience and kind of thing.
Okay. Okay. Great. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Jack Hammond?
Hi, Jack.
You have to unmute.
Now I'm unmuted,
Oh,
yes.
wait.
What does the catastrophic policy cover?
Well, and I'm writing Diane's piece right now. My lead, so to speak, in this piece is I wish they would stop calling it catastrophic, because it's not really just for catastrophes. It's for so many things. And that's why I want everyone to think, if you have the catastrophic policy, now's the time to use it. You've been paying these premiums all these years. Dust it off, go over it, see what it covers and start using it. So it's not just it's basically any out-of-pocket costs that you may have incurred. As CUNY retirees compared to the private sector and whatnot, you have really good retiree benefits. So you're not probably incurring so-called catastrophic out-of-pocket costs, but there are some things in there that the catastrophic policy will cover, including some dental costs that you may have been paying out of pocket. So stay tuned for that article because it certainly goes well beyond in-home care, things like that. So for many of you on this call today, I would safely assume that you can take advantage of that policy right now.
What about co-payments?
Copays, that's kind of a gray area. I'm seeking clarification from AMBA, the company that manages it, and I've been told a few different things and the way you read the policy, it's a little vague. So when I finalize this article, I'll pin down once and for all if copays are unallowable.
Okay, thanks.
Out-of-pocket cost.
Evelyn Berg. Hi, Evelyn.
Hi, everybody. It's interesting that this was brought up today. When I retired, I'm a new retiree. I went off payroll, and AMBA, it took a while for them to contact me. And I signed up. I wasn't sure, and I'm glad we're discussing this now. I'm a little behind. I was supposed to pay a month ago. I hope they haven't canceled it. But so we now pay ourselves. We pay the catastrophic insurance ourselves. I forget what it is, but $240 or something. I just paid it recently, so I guess it's
okay.
A year or something like that.
Yeah, it sounds to me like you're on a 6-month payment schedule, which is fine. Yeah. You do certainly have the option of setting up automatic deduction from your pension or from your bank if you'd like to do that. Folks that were in the habit of having it deducted from their paycheck, like you were most recently, if that was the case, was it automatically deducted from your paycheck?
Yes.
Okay. If you want to continue that process, it's simply a matter of contacting, depending either TRS or TIA, whichever pension provider you have, and they'll walk you through the process of setting up automatic deductions, not just for catastrophic, but any other kind of insurance-based policy, if you'd like, or do it directly from your bank. What I would say is just think about your own life. If you've got a lot of things going on and this is one less thing for you to worry about, do it that way. If you're comfortable paying it directly and you're confident that you won't miss the bill coming in the mail, then that's fine too. But
I was supposed to pay it last month, and a lot of things intervened, some ailments actually.
Exactly.
So do you think they can cancel it that fast in a month?
Cancel? No, they can't. No. Okay. So what I would do is call them and tell them that you are a little remiss and you'd like to pay up. So, and for everyone on the call, if you do miss a payment and AMBA gives you any gruff, call me and I'll step in and advocate for you. It's really only if you miss well over a year's worth of payments or something like that. But keep in mind that this is an insurance company and they would like nothing more than to cancel you. They don't make any money off of you at all. That's why we can't offer this policy any longer, because we can't find an insurance company to underwrite it. So they would love it if you went away. So let's make sure that doesn't happen.
And I think there was a confusion. It went from Marsh to Amber, and you might have missed the letter.
Yeah, that's true. It went not only that, Diane. It went from Marsh to Mercer to AMBA, and God knows what it's going to be in the next few years or so. But all roughly the same company.
Bonnie?
Yeah. So let me clarify with the catastrophic, because I realize that I probably have enough bills that I qualify. So I need to go back and look at my, my Medicare statements and see how much Medicare has paid, and then look at my Anthem statements and see how much Anthem has paid, and then look at my Emblem statements and see how much they have paid. And when the total together plus whatever I paid hits $10,000, then the catastrophic plan should pay all my out-of-pocket expenses. Is that correct?
That is correct. Yep. So
Okay.
with the catastrophic thing, that it goes hand in hand with keeping those receipts. So just go over those statements. If you've got them electronically, great. Dig through your records and
And then is there a form online that I use?
Yeah, it starts
What
with
their
calling
instructions?
AMBA, the company that manages
Okay.
it, and submitting the claim, essentially. So you'll
Okay.
bundle up any out-of-pocket costs, receipts for those out-of-pocket costs. AMBA will take the documentation that you've met the deductible, and then they will take the receipts for any out-of-pocket costs and reimburse you.
Okay, thank you.
Erwin Yellowitz.
I was just now in the rare place of giving Bonnie some advice rather than taking advice from Bonnie.
Well, give a little, take a little. Erwin
Yeah, I
Yellowitz.
want to repeat what I think I said last month about catastrophe and then ask you a question about long-term care. Corebridge, I believe, is the company that now administers the claims.
That's correct.
And we have had some claims and they have handled them very well.
Good.
It's not true in the past, I must
Yeah,
say.
I don't.
So that's encouraging.
Yeah, the way AMBA explained it to me was Corebridge used to be US Life. US Life sort of became Corebridge. And Erwin, I'm glad you've had a good experience with them. I'm not sure if it's different people or what it was, but anytime that I'm hearing that that the claims are being paid out without too much red tape, that's great.
Good. Okay, my question is about long-term care. In December, we're going to have Jim Cohen here to talk about assisted living.
Yes.
Which is, of course, an important part of long-term care.
Yeah.
And I was wondering whether you have had a good experience with John Hancock in the administration of that policy. That's one of our oldest policies. It goes back to 1990, I believe.
Sure.
And I think it's also closed, like the catastrophe.
It is. It is. Yeah.
But what is the experience that you've had with John Hancock in administering that?
It's been fine. I mean, the biggest challenge is basic customer service. Are you getting through? Like literally one phone call could be to someone who isn't fully up to speed on the policy because it's so old. The next phone call could go through to someone who's very well acquainted with the long-term care policy as issued by us and NICET way back in the day. So I would say this, if you get through to someone and you feel that you're not getting the adequate answers, call me.
Gloria Paulus.
Thank you.
Hi, Gloria.
Hi. Hi. Yes, I have the catastrophic plan, but it doesn't sound like what everyone else is talking about. I have the NICET plan. Is that the same?
Roughly. Yeah, roughly. It's kind of When did you get it?
Oh my goodness. Maybe I was still working, maybe around after 2008 or something like that.
Okay. Yeah. It's roughly the same. Keep in mind that as you look at catastrophic policy and long-term care policy, the big differences are your catastrophic policy is really good for in-home care and out-of-pocket costs. Your long-term care policy is really good for a facility, assisted living facility, things like that. That's sort of but in any case, the catastrophic policy as offered by NICET and as offered by the welfare fund all those years ago is roughly the same.
Oh yeah, I have both. I have John Hancock.
Oh, that's great. Yeah. Like I always say, I'm thrilled when I talk to a retiree who has both, because you've got the gold standard of insurance policies right now, because
the Clarion would announce an open enrollment, so I would always grab it. That's how I got it.
Good. Yeah.
My policy only has a $2,000 deductible. It was at a $10,000 deductible.
Yeah.
And under my policy, we get reimbursed for co-pays for everything.
Yeah.
They don't do. It's a wonderful policy, and they do pay fast. And the retiree who's concerned about the co-pays, when I first signed up, they told me I had to wait 6 months before they can put me on automatic the pay. So
Yeah.
the little things like that, but it's a wonderful policy,
Yeah.
it's very easy to work with. That's it. Mhm.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Rose Ortiz.
Hi, Rose. Nope.
Can't hear
Rose
you.
got to unmute.
Thank you. You may answer this in your article, but I just wanted to know whether catastrophic insurance would pay for out-of-pocket expenses for expenses that were not Medicare eligible, like some doctor visits that are self-pay visits.
Yeah, it's possible. At times, AMBA is a little cagey about what's allowed. What I would suggest doing is submitting it and seeing what they say, essentially. There's the policy as written isn't as comprehensive as I'd like it. It doesn't spell out everything, nor does it go into great enough detail about what's not allowed. So if you've got that out-of-pocket cost, I would say submit it and just see what happens.
Okay.
Or have that conversation with AMBA and say, hey, by the way, I've got these types of bills that weren't paid. Will the catastrophic policy cover it?
And how do I reach her?
The company AMBA. Yeah, it's a company. In other words, they're not the easiest folks to get on the phone. There's a phone tree. Always take option number 2. They say, like, for questions about insurance, that's the option to take. I can put the phone number up in the chat.
And how do you spell?
AMBA, AMBA.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, bear with me here. I'll put the number in the chat.
Linda Iannuzzo.
Thank you.
Linda?
Yes, okay, I'm unmuted. Okay, just one other question on the catastrophic. When would a person who has that coverage submit a claim? In other words, like, is the 2024 too late already, or we're only working on 2025?
No, they're not you can go back. You can go back I'm almost positive you can go back at least a year.
Okay. Okay, great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions? Well, thank you, Michael, as always.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Hold on. I'm putting the AMBA number in the chat now.
Okay.
9230. And keep in mind that, like I said, these are insurance companies. They're
Don't want to make
they
money.
are what they are, So, but here at the fund, we actually sincerely care about you. So, if you run into any issues with Hancock, with AMBA, with any of those providers, just call me.
Great. Thanks a million, Michael.
My pleasure. Happy fall.
Happy fall. Oh, you're late. Okay. Any announcements, anybody? Well, I want to again thank the speakers, Rotua. Oh, Eileen.
I did put the link in the chat, but I just want to remind everybody that the Environmental Justice Working Group and the Legislation Committee are sponsoring on campuses up to 14 town halls.
Wow.
Link is there. Find the one that's near you if you care to go to the town hall. The focus is why it's important to be involved in the mayoralty and council elections this year and why it impacts and how it impacts the CUNY community. So I'll put it in the chat again just before we sign off.
Okay, thank you, Eileen. Well, thanks to our speakers today, Rotua and Nicole and Joan for stepping in. Thanks to David Cuddlechuck for taking notes, and with those notes, he's going to write a fantastic article for TTP. Congratulations to Francine, who's now on our executive committee. Thanks to Jessica, our staff person. And let me just give you a word about the November meeting. And I don't know if Joan will want to elaborate on this, because it's Joan that put together this meeting on artificial intelligence. It's called Demystifying AI in War and in Higher Education. It's an interesting pair that we have. Thanks go to Joan for securing some top-notch speakers. Lucy Suckman, Professor Emerita of Anthropology of Science at Lancaster in the UK, and Britt Paris, Associate Professor in the Rutgers School of Communication and Information. This is the second meeting on artificial intelligence, because last year's was so successful, you asked for a follow-up. Joan, are you still here?
I think she had to leave. I don't see her.
Okay, she would have said more. We'll give you more information in our blasts. But that's November 3rd, our next meeting. So, do I hear a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second? Oh, everybody fell asleep. Second,
John and Erwin had their hands up.
all in favor?
Aye.
Okay,
Wait, there are people with their hands up.
people with their hands up. Oh, okay. Barbara Tunney. They have their hands up to adjourn, or
Yeah,
are
I
they?
think they were just adjourning.
I think they're.
Okay, did you want to mention the memorial for Blanca? There's a link in the chat now.
Okay. That's on October 25th. Is there a link? Is Marcia here? Well, October 25th, a Saturday, is a memorial service and celebration of her life.
I sent something to the executive committee, but I'd be happy if it were, and I sent something to the DA, but I'd like it to go to everybody if they wish.
Jessica has put the link into the chat. It's the last thing on the chat.
Okay.
If you'd like to sign up, that's how you do it.
Yeah, I think the deadline is October 20th. Thank you for bringing that up, Bonnie. Okay, meeting is adjourned. Stay healthy, stay well.